Right there, welcome to this video. This video will show you how I fit point motors. A good 90% of them are seat motors. Some are with the polarity switch on, and there's a few that's not, and I shall show you how the wiring up, because they are wired slightly different, but not a great deal. It just means that you have to solder some wires onto the point motors. Hopefully you'll have the confidence to do that, so there's no problem, and I'll show you how to do that. But for now, I'll start putting the motors in now. Right, and in front of you you'll see two of the seat motors, both different. This one has got the built-in switch, and this one hasn't. It's just a normal point motor, standard point motor. The switch is the two terminals on here, which I shall show you in a minute. Right, then the one that's in front of you is the switch type, and what it is, I don't know whether you can see just in there, it looks like a spring and a little wash on the end, and they make contact with these here. And so what it happens is when the point motor goes one way or the other, it just makes contact like so, and over there like that, and that makes the contact, and that's for the switch. This one, if you have a look down the middle here, there's no contact. It's just a rod that goes through to the points. Still slides the same, but there's no making the switch. And as what I've done is these two end wires go to the switch on the panel, and that's the return, like negative or positive. So this one and this one's a switch, and then that's the return. On the one with the switch, it's slightly different on the wiring. Still the end wires are the for the switch panel. The grey is on there is still the same for the return. I put the switch wires pink and the return grey. Now for the switch side, as you can see, I've used yellow, and then the live feed is the green. Now when you're using them for your points for polarity change, the electric comes in this side, then goes out that side to your polarity, or if it's this side, it'll go out that side as well. I've used same two colours, what yellow, for the simple reason I don't know which side's going to be positive and negative. It's entirely up to you what colour you use. Some people use the same colour as the bus wire, but as what I'm doing is I've got about another 8 of these to wire up, so I'm just wiring them all the same like this. If you do this, the two wires the same, it has its advantages. It means that you can have the point motor facing whichever way you like, there's no problem. If you've got these polarities, as in the same colour as your bus bar, in my case is red and black, you have to turn the point motor to suit. So if the red's the inside, you've got to have it that way, and if it's the other way round, and it could cause a bit of confusion. But so I use the yellow, and it doesn't matter then, I can go put these straight onto the positive and negative. But on a couple of my switches I should be using them to change the colours of the signals. So like on most switches, I can wire it the wrong way round. The green one will have the power going in, then the red, yellow will either have a red light showing or a green light or amber light, whichever one I want, green and amber, if it's stop start signal or if it's a distance signal, and I should wire the signals into them. But when you buy the point motor, unfortunately they don't come wired. You get them and they come like this. There we are. These are PM1s. And down here is my box that I've been doing. I've got a few more to do, as you can see. which I shall crack on and do, wire them all up, and then I shall fit them. Right then, I shall show you how to wire these point motors up. Quite simple. I've got my 6 colours, got 2 pinks, 2 yellows, 1 green, 1 grey. Obviously with them as they are at the minute, these bits are a bit too long, so you've got to trim them down because they've got to fit on here. I've already pre-soldered, so they've what have been called tinned, and now I should just trim them up. You don't want a lot leaving. So much for cutting them. There we are. There we are, nice and trimmed. They're a bit smaller now, so they'll fit in them in here, quite simple. And all I do now is I just get my leads different colours, clean the solder tip, get a bit of solder on my iron, and basically just touch it with the iron. There we are, that one's done. The next one will be my grey one, which is like the common return. Bit more solder on the terminal like that. And quite simple, that's all I'm doing so far. The next one are the switches, so it'll be the yellow one, same thing, no difference. Those that have used to soldering, I apologise for this, but I'm showing people who have never used these before on bits of soldering. Hopefully the new people will pick something up. Probably give you a bit more of a nerve to have a go when you find out how easy it is to do. Nothing too difficult. Oh, nearly put the wrong colour on. Another yellow. Bearing in mind, as I said, the yellow ones are the switch side. This is the what you call your frog wide go to the frog. And then the last one, the switch to your panel. There we are. And that's that one done. That's all I do is that. And for this I've used a flux paste. I don't know where I can get it in there. Oh, it is just a little bit of paste. So I'm doing this upside down. It's just a paste. I've done some soldering for water pipes, and that's the paste I use to solder it up. And it's as good as flux. You can use liquid flux, which is this one. Oh, there we are. Which is the normal liquid flux, so you can see it's well used. But that's it basically. They're all done. So that's 1 down, 8 to go. Right, and so it's easy enough to do. Just having the nerve to do it for the first time, there's no problem. Right, I shall carry on with the rest and speak to you again in a bit. Bye. Right, and what I'm going to do is fit this point into this hole. As what I'm doing first is, you can't see it from the angle, but I can see the point T-bar from this side. Now what I'm doing is feeding this bar through the hole of the T-bar. Easier said than done. There we are, I'm in. There we are. And then now what I'm going to be doing is trying to get the pin in the centre. I'll apologise now if my hand gets in the way a lot, because I'm having to do this above hand. And what I'm doing is this pin, so it's central, so it goes over the two like switch points here. It takes a little while. All I do is move it backwards and forwards till it covers. There we are. I'm happy with that. If you can see that, it's coming through. The washer that's in there is doing both the terminal joins. There we are. And then when I'm happy with that, I mark the hole where the screw's going in, like so. And that's how I'm going to get my drill. With it being plywood, you just give it a bit of a pilot hole, not too deep. One there, one there. Right, and all I've got is just a couple of small brass screws. Get my motor again, same again, put the bar through the T-bar like so. Because you've already got the holes there, you haven't got to go through the proceedings of making sure it's all lined up. There's one. There's two. Just another check, see if it's still fitting. Yep, that's ideal. And that's that first one done. I've got about another 12 to do on this side, and then some more on the other board. If you can, now I've taken the advantage that these boards are all upside down, so I'm working above the boards. Because I've done the wiring, I've taken advantage. It's easier this way, otherwise you've got to go under the boards and work from the other way around. There we are. There we are. The boards, as I say, that's the front board with the bridge there. That's on its side because I've just done the point motors on them boards all the way down on there, and that's the motor I've just put in just now. As you can see, the board's upside down, so I can work on it. Right, then I'll carry on with these, and then I'll explain what I do with the terminal blocks. Bye for now. Right, and what you see in front of you is the last of the point motors that fit underneath the boards. I've got 2 more motors to fit on, but they'll go on the top. As you can see, I'll show you what I've done, and you'll probably laugh. As you can see there, there's one there. There's one on the other side, and there's one over in the corner. I'll point them out to you. Let's see if I can get this up there. That one there. That one's, if I can't get point motor in there because it's too close to the side, and so that's, I've got to put one on the top for that one, and it's the same as there. Oh. That's the hole there. The point motor actually, it's on there, so I can't get one in. So what I've got to do is put motors on the top, and as you can see and all, there's a massive spaghetti there which I've got to convert, and I shall be fitting these on. Just normal standard terminal blocks, pick them up B&Q's, electrical stores type of thing, or at railway shows that sell electric bits. They're always selling them on the shows there, so you can pick them up quite easily. And you get them in rows of 12. I've cut these into 6 because there's 6 wires on each of the point motors, and I shall fit these. Right, I shall now convert this plate of spaghetti to a tidiest plate of spaghetti. As you can see, I've let's get closer. There we are. They're all in them terminal blocks now, and one of the main reasons to do it in terminal blocks is because it is for an exhibition layout, and there's no worse than finding a point motor that's packed up on you and you've got to replace it. And so I'm just trying to adjust the camera, and you've got to replace it. So the idea is, with the terminal blocks, just undo the screws, lift the point motor out, put the new one in and screw it in again. Matter of minutes swapping it over, and it does save time. You can go straight from the point motor to your control panel if you wish, but bear in mind that point motors don't last forever and a day. They will go on you. It could be on the first time you're running it, or it could be the 100th time. They just go, and then you've got to replace it. So if you go through the terminal block, whether it's permanent layout or mobile, is all you got to do is just think of the future, undo the screws, take the point motor out, place it, no problem. The terminal blocks, I've not screwed them down. I've used a hot glue gun, if you've ever seen one. They look like this, and it's basically a stick of glue like that, goes in the end there, and it gets hot. Be careful, as it says, it is a hot glue gun and it can burn you, but it is good because all you do is squirt some glue on the back of the terminal, place the terminal on, and then within minutes the glue's gone off, and it's a nice tight steady fix. They ain't going to move. Right then, now I shall show you how to put the point motors on the top. The ones I'll show you, ones I'm going to be using. These are the ones I'm using. They're the Peco ones, and they go on the side of the point, and they just slide like that. Never fitted them before, so it should be some good fun, and I shall show you how to do them next then. Right, and I fitted a couple of these side mounted points motors. I don't know whether you can see, but there's a bit of a gap, so there's some play there. And what I do is I get some shrimp wrap, shrimp tube, and just glue it on there, which will make a nice snug fit in there. I'll show you what I mean. Right, and what you can see there is I cut a bit of the red tube, and I've stuck it onto the pip of the T-bar. I've also found that sometimes when you fit these point motors, these side mounted motors, they do stand up a bit proud. Stand a bit proud, and if you're not careful, they could fall out of the, I forget what you call them now, the little pip that goes on there. So when you're putting these little red tubes on, it serves 2 points. One, it makes it nice and thicker for putting the bar on, as I'm just showing you. Trying to do this without getting the size 9s in the way. There we are. And that's in there like that. That fits in there, and that's nice and tight now. Let's show you. Oh, from last time there's no play there now, and now all there is a bit of a rubber, I forgot what, shrink tubing I think they call it, and it just fits on there. And with it standing just slightly proud, don't go too high, otherwise you'll catch the rolling stock as it goes over. It just stands, it makes sure it makes it so that T-bar goes onto the pip like that. And as what I've done then is, after I fitted it, is just put a couple of drops of super glue in, just a couple, let it go off, and then and place that on there. And that's all there is to fitting these. It does say in the instructions that you nail, put a couple of trap pins in here. I'll just show you. Make the neighbours happy, knocking her, banging and bumping. There we are, I've just nailed the pins in. I've not gone all the way down in case I have to set the motor out again. Just a bit of a gap there, but it's strong enough to hold them in there because it's a tight fit. There we are. As I say, as a recap, just a little bit of a red tube on there, makes that nice and tight around there, and then just pin it in the four corners it showed. Right, I'll just test it now. Nothing too special. That works alright. The buzzing that you hear, that, when I put a CDU in it, capacitor discharge unit, what that means is it'll cure that buzzing, so don't worry about it. All I'm doing at the minute is getting two wires and just touching them. That's all I'm doing. Just to test it, and that works okay, and I shall fit the others now. Right, and what you see in front of you, I put just 3 points, 3 Peco point motors on, just to show you how to fit the Peco point motors. There's 3 ways of fitting them on. There's 2 that's under the baseboard, which are these 2 end ones, and then the middle one is a surface mounted one. Right, I'll just show you how they do the surface mounted one for now. Right, the surface mounted one is quite simple. All it is, it's a bracket, which is this, fits onto your point motor, and all it is, I don't know whether you can see them point, see these lugs here? On Peco point motors you get 6 lugs. Just see if we can turn this around so you can see. You get one either end, then a set in the middle. When you use these pins, these base plates, you use the end 2 pins and fold up the middle set like so. I don't know whether you can see. Let's see if we can get a bit closer. Oh, there we are. Let's get that wire out of the way. There we are. There's the 2 end pins. There and there, and then the middle ones are just folded over. You can use the end ones on the baseboard forgot what I'm going to say. Surface mounted ones, memory like a sieve, and that's how they go. And all you do is screw them on. You got 2 screw holes there, and then there's one at the back, and you just screw them in. They come complete with screws, I think. And all you do is, see this arm, it's attached to a little pip on the point, and that's all it is. Sometimes you might find that might pop out. If that does, if you remember the other Peco point motor put on with a little red tube, that might cure it. Or if you get a clip and just hold that in. Well, that's the surface mounted one. Now the ones that are under the baseboard. This is the one for the under the baseboard, traditional type of thing. Point motor there still. Let's bring it forward. There we are. Same thing, the 2 end pins use and fold up the middle ones. They're like the surface mounted ones, but without the arm. That's all that's the only difference is. These again, traditional way of doing it. Put an hole in the baseboard and feed the locating arm through the T-bar, like so. That's 2. Then the third and last one, well, these are the common ones. You probably find that people have to put all sorts of gadgets on, but these are the common ones. And what you do with this is you cut that turn over, you fit the point motor direct to the track. All you do is drill it, make an hole out big enough for the point motor, fit the track over the hole with the point motor attached. Because there's such a big hole, you need to cover it. All I've done for now is put some paper over. You can use whatever, thin card or paper such as this. As you see, that's the size of the hole. Same again on the motors. There's 6 lugs, one there, and one there. But this time you use the middle set and one of the end sets only. The other end you just fold over, and that's that. And that fits direct. What I've done here is put the pins through the locating holes on the point, and then just twisted them round, and that's all there is to it. There is another added gadget you can put on. It's for the switching, and this is all it is. That's it. This is an old one, as you can see. I've used it. I think it's not working now, but anyway, this is what they are, and they just slide, he says. They just slide. And how to fit them is quite simple. Simpler than what you realise. Get your point motor. These will only work on Peco points. Peco point motors. And all you do on them is just glue, fit them on there. The arm will come up. Let's see if I can get that better. Do it on one of the end ones because the arm will come through. See the arm that comes through the other end? And all you do is locate in the arm of the switch, like so. Nothing too hard. I don't know whether you can see that. It goes in, and that's it. And then you just glue it on. You can either glue them on there, or if it's a nice tight fit, just fit them on, push fit, and that's it. And then obviously you solder your wires that you want on here, like so. I hope that's been beneficial to you. There's just one more thing to show, and that's an hex-frog juice that I've fitted underneath the board. Right, see you in a bit. Right then, I'm actually under the board, so I apologise for the camera and whatnot. As you can see, the hex-frog, that's it. It's just a massive electronics. The black and red cable is the feed into it, and then the white cables that come out, they go off to the frogs on your points. We'll follow that through, and then that's connected to the cables that, I don't know whether they're picking up, but they should be yellow cables. There'll be the frogs on, I think it's a double slip, and that'll feed them. I like them. A lot of people do, because the way they work is it picks up the short. Obviously, as your loco goes over the point, it shorts, but this will switch the polarity that quick that your DCC system will not pick it up. I've got them on Derby Road. I think I've got about 2 or 3 on Derby Road, and I think they're a wonderful bit of kit. The downside is they are a bit expensive. I think that one's about £65, but it does save a lot of reliability on your point motors with the what do you call it? I forgot what it is. Swapping the polarity over. But as I say, and all it is feeds round, and then your cables. They're all screw terminals. There and there, the screw terminals. So there's no soldering or anything like that. Dead easy to fit. You put screws in 4 corners and bolt them to your boards. Anyway, that's that sorted. That's an hex-frog juicer. Well, I hope you picked something up and learnt something. As I said in the film, I took the opportunity while I got the baseboards stripped down to turn them upside down and fit the point motors. If you can do that, do it. It's a lot easier than working from underneath the board. But I know a lot of you have got boards fitted and they're permanently fitted, so you're going to have to climb underneath. Just be prepared to take it. It will take you a little while to fit a point motor. But as I say, because I've got my boards apart, I took the opportunity to fit them then, and it makes it job a lot easier. I've not gone into cobalt because I haven't got any. It's personal choice at the end of the day what motors you use. So and because I'm not using them, I've not shown you how to do it. I've shown you the 3 ways of putting the Peco point motors on the hex-frog, which I do like. Say 1 or 2 people don't like them, but I do. They're a brilliant bit of kit. As I said, they're a bit expensive. But anyway, I hope you liked everything. One thing, I've not wired the points in yet, so the point motors don't work. I've got to sort out the control panel, which I will do. I'm not going through the DC system with point motors. I'm going to still work off a switch, because I'll do shows. If you want a point motor change, you've got to remember the number. It's just another load of numbers to remember. If you want to go down that route, there's no problem. Good luck to you. But I shall work all my points off of switches on the control panel, which I shall show you how to do at a later date. That'll be a little while off yet. But for now, it's all up and working. I can start playing with the trains again properly, and we'll start on the scenery. I don't know when, because I've got a few shows coming up in November to go to. One's down in Letchworth, I think, which is November the 26th, I think it is. So if you go into the show and you see me there, just pop in, have a look and say hello. Any questions you'd like to know, I can answer them. And well, anyway, I hope everything's all okay. So if you'd like to subscribe or leave a comment, and then I'll get back to you. But for now, all the best then. Bye.